Welcome back to Tea with Spirit Show. This is your host, Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. If this is the first time that you are looking or listening to the show, go ahead and hit the red subscribe button before getting started, so that way you can be notified of any future videos that I do publish on this channel, as well as receive any notifications. Hit that notification bell as well. Go ahead and get your teapots ready, get your tea bags, your teacups, or if you are a cappuccino person, pour your cappuccino or your coffee or your latte, and let's get started with the show. So this is episode 8. For those of you that are not familiar with the show and are tuning in for the very first time, just to give you a little bit of background on the show, it's a show that I created, which gives a venue to a platform for all of my clients and listeners and fans on my YouTube channel and all around the world to submit one question. It is being compared to like the psychic version of Dear Abby, which is a newspaper columnist that gives advice to people who write into her. So this is my version of it, and it's an online version, obviously. But if you have a question, a spiritual question, you know, something that's going on in your life and you would like the tea from spirit, basically you just can email that question to me. My email is raymondguzman@hotmail.com. On the subject line of the email, just put tea with spirit. And then in the body of your email, ask your specific question. And then also be sure to include an alias, because if your question is selected for the show, I will be reading that out loud, obviously, and so for confidentiality purposes, I won't read your full name. So let's get started with our first question. Our first question is coming from let's see here, Anonymous. And Anonymous says, many blessings to you. I'm so excited for the tea time with spirit. I can literally listen all day if I can. I was interested in submitting a question to get answered, but I didn't see any details on how to do so. Well, you did email me the question, so you did right. It says here, if this is the right way, then my question for your show is, lately I've been feeling unbalanced in my relationship, or in other words, just feeling out of it, and I can't completely explain why. Any advice? Thank you, Raymond. All right, so Anonymous wrote that, and immediately what I get with you is that you're not getting what you want out of this relationship. It feels very unbalanced when I get into it. I feel like you are having to almost argue with this person to get them to see your point of view and do things your way. This could be them not wanting to go shopping with you, take you out places. They may, kind of teeter-totter around showing you affection. It's only when they want affection. It feels almost one-sided the way that this is coming in, very much so. I also feel like with finances that this person may not want to, necessarily be very supportive of the finances, but there is true love here. I do feel like there is true love, but you're evolving and you're growing, and so I feel like you have a lot of demands, and this person, it's all about it seems like this is all about money when it comes into me tuning into what's going on in the situation. I do feel like family is very important for you. So I feel like when it comes to children or family in general, this is something that you want to like create. You want to continue to have that solid connection to your family. But with him, I feel like there's somebody else that steals his attention. So the way that this comes in is like, he may have his own family and they want, him to help them financially, but when it comes to you or your family, he may not be helping, or that person may not be helping you. But I do feel like things are going to be changing, but before it does change, there are some more things that are going to unravel. I do feel like you are going to feel very emotional over the next 2 months. Next 2 to 3 months, I should say. You are feeling like almost like betrayed by this person in many ways. That's how it comes in. And so this is what makes you and feeds your insecurities a little bit about, whether or not this person is faithful, if they're going to change. The energy here is that this person is also fighting their own inner battles. I feel like they are not at peace in their own um, their own life, but there is a lot of sexual chemistry going back and forth, a lot of communication. So I want to say that this person is a soulmate to you. That's what it comes in through from spirit, that this is a soulmate for you, but he's waiting to see something else from you. There's something that this person wants from you. Specifically, I feel like they are kind of observant. They want to see how loyal, if not how loyal, how much you love them. And it's almost like a test by this person. Now, I don't know if they communicate this to you or you're already on more or less aware of it, but it feels like this person is kind of conniving in certain ways, you know, your partner. And I hate to say it like that, but that's the way it comes in. He has a good side and then there's a dark side. And I feel like he lets his dark side take over a lot of times. And it's almost like a test, like, you know, you are being subjected to show him how much you love him. And it's like, it's draining, you know, this is all draining for you. You just want happiness, and it is coming. It is coming, but I do feel like you have, you are going to be faced with some kind of decision here. You know, you're going to get to the point where you're very emotional, and in that emotional state, you're going to ask yourself, should I continue in this relationship or should I move out of it? And it feels like you are going to actually eventually move out of this relationship. Like I said, you can have more than one soulmate. I feel like this relationship is never fully going to heal. There is a lot of lightness, a light, like I said, in your life. You can possibly make it work together, but it's going to require both of you. And I just don't feel at this point, from what I'm being shown, is that this guy's more into the sexual and the physical connection to you. So it's all about intimacy, and it's more physical. I don't feel like there is a strong spiritual connection. And when you are in a relationship, there has to be both a spiritual and a physical connection, you know, that kind of keeps you together. So what I'm being shown from spirit is that there is going to be another guy that comes in, or maybe you already know who this person is more or less. He feels very familiar to your soul when I tune in, and I do get that he does have feelings for you. He's more of a giver, and he's not more of a taker. And the other guy that you're with now, that person is more of a taker. That's what's coming in from spirit. But with this other guy, I feel like he's very much a giver. And he's more gentle in his approach, and he is more confident and more sure of what he wants. So I feel like there's big changes over the next year and a half for you, and a lot of you having to release a lot of fear so that you can ultimately be happy. But with your current relationship, it's going to be like a roller coaster, and eventually, like I said, you are going to reach a point where you can try to stay in it out of comfortability, and because it's familiar to you, or you can move on. And I feel like spirit in the universe is all for you moving on from this, because again, I feel like there's a lot of dishonesty around this relationship. So I want to thank you, Anonymous, for submitting your question, and let's get to the next question. All right, our next question is from another Anonymous, and this one says, "Hello, Raymond. My name is Anonymous, and I feel lost about the future of my relationship. My partner and I have been together for 5 years. I moved from a different state to be with him. In the beginning, our relationship was okay, but as time passed, I became unhappy. Eventually, I realized that we were not compatible. We are two different people with different values, personalities. Although I'm not happy, I feel guilty when I think about leaving him. He has done so much for my daughter and I. He's worked so that I can focus on school, and I wouldn't have been able to do so without his help. I don't know what to do. I understand that relationships aren't perfect. I feel conflicted. I don't want to hurt him by leaving, especially considering all he's done for me. But I also don't want to settle. I've put up with a lot and have made many sacrifices in order to make things work. What should I do? Should I stay or should I go? Spirit, please enlighten me. I am not sure. Okay, so that is the question here, and that's from Anonymous. So, first of all, let me just say start off by saying that thank you so much for submitting this question. I know it's not easy to, to trust spirit sometimes, and for me using this platform for even people to reach out. So I'm very grateful to all of my listeners and my viewers of this show, for being brave, and again, I respect your privacy and everything that's going on, in your lives out there. So anonymous, with you, in general, let me start off by saying that you don't owe your boyfriend or your partner anything. I know that he has helped you unconditionally, but if he didn't, I'm just being brutally honest, and people may not agree with me that are listening to this, but when you give to someone, and like what he did to you, he's giving to you the ability to go to school, to further yourself. If he truly loves you, he would have done it without any kind of strings attached to it. I know that you have a good heart, and I can feel that from your energy, and I can see that as well, that you do have a good heart, and that you feel very much so like obligated to be with him because he's helped you. But if he really did it, when people help people, you need to do it from a place of being selfless. If you're expecting something back from that person, by giving, let's say you do something nice for them and you buy them, something lunch, or you send them, something in the mail, or you just buy them something, or you do something good for them, and you expect something in return, then there's an ulterior motive behind that. And so with that, you know, it's not with the highest intention of all good. There's always a catch to it. And, that's saying that there's nothing in this world that's free. There's always a price to pay. With you, I feel like you feel this burden and this guilt because he's helped you in many ways, and your emotions have changed. But people grow out of relationships, and they grow out of their feelings. And I don't feel like you should be feeling this way. I feel like you have a good heart, and in many ways you don't want to hurt him, but at the same time you're hurting yourself by staying in a relationship that that is no longer working for you, and helping you. People coming to our life for a certain period of time. Look at it this way: when maybe you've worked in several job positions, or those of you that would be listening to this could relate. If you've worked in several job positions and you're unhappy in a job and they're not paying you the same way, eventually, most people go and search for another job, and that relationship that you had with your employer ends. And sometimes if you really loved your job and the coworkers around you, but maybe you didn't get along with your employer, that kind of hurts you in many ways, because it's not easy. It's almost like a relationship there. It's not easy saying goodbye to a lot of people. And, mostly when you leave a job that you really love behind, and you had a lot of good coworkers, there's going to be tears that are shed. There's going to be a lot of heartache for the first couple of days. And when you start your new job for the next, 2 months or first week, it's very difficult to transition sometimes for certain people, and you feel like, maybe you just don't fit in that environment. And I'm talking from experience because I've transitioned from several jobs before. I know this is not a relationship, but I'm using it almost like an example, because it can relate in many ways to what you're going through. So what Spirit is basically saying, the tea that they're giving you, is that this relationship, you've lost yourself essentially in it. Even though you have, you're very grateful for all the blessings, and you're grateful for him helping you and your daughter. I do get that there's a part of you that's been lost in this relationship. And I also feel at a certain point that he may be certain things that he says or does, and makes you feel guilty. It's almost like he does it intentionally to kind of bring up, hey, I did help you with this, and this. Eventually I see him, being okay with it, and I do see there is an ending to this relationship. So that's coming. It's coming soon, and I feel like he's going to struggle for a while with this, and he's going to kind of really go deep inside himself and see what he did wrong, because he's going to start thinking and blaming himself for it. But Spirit is telling me that he's been through this before, so this is not going to be the first time, but he is going to come out of it. I also feel like there is another male that you will meet immediately, or maybe you've already met this person and you're in communication with them. You need to be careful with your next relationship. The next guy that comes in, I see a very dark-haired male. He does have facial hair, like a mustache and maybe like a little bit of chin hair. You know, he has facial hair. He's not that tall. I would say like 5'9", 5'10", almost. He is not athletic, but he is, you know, pretty decent body shape. And I do get he's very attractive. And he wears a lot of hats, a lot of caps, in general. And like a lot of casual clothing. That's the kind of energy I get. But this guy that you'll be meeting, he kind of presents himself in a way where, you know, he's a smooth talker. He's very charming. There's a lot of light that is presented from this, you know, and it's kind of like makes you feel very at ease around him. But at the same time, I feel like he is deceptive. He lies. He's not loyal, and he's a cheater. So Spirit is saying to basically watch out for that, because this is coming up as soon as you leave this relationship. There is going to be someone else, but you need to not give yourself into that relationship. That's not a good person that's coming in, the first person. I do feel like you ultimately are going to work hard and be independent and work hard towards your goals. It's going to be quite some time after this relationship before you meet someone. And I'm being brutally honest here. To get into another relationship, and I'm seeing more like 5-6 years before there's something like a long-term relationship or marriage for you. But you have a lot of fear that surrounds you and paralyzes you from moving forward. So Spirit wants you to release that and know that you are making the right decision, and this person, you know, is going to be okay, the guy that you're with right now. But you know, like I said, you have you know, quite a bit of stuff going on in your own personal life too, because after you leave this relationship, what I'm shown is that that man will come in, like I said, and then you're continuing to work hard. Not all of this is dark and gloomy. There is going to be good moments, good friendships and connections, and I feel like you're going to move maybe to another state again. There is another move in the works for you down the road when you're more financially secure. But there is something going on in your family. Like I keep seeing battles and conversations and arguments and dysfunction and chaos. So there is something going on in your family too that keeps you kind of unsettled. So, you know, this is going to be something where you're going to need to kind of, you know, stay away from toxic people, use protective crystals. For you in particular, I'm getting that you should use like selenite. That would be very good for you, and maybe apatite. Apatite is a good crystal. If you want to look up those healing properties and what they're for, you can do so. But yeah, I get that things will get better for you. There is a lot of positivity. You have a lot of angelic assistance and divine assistance that is going to make sure that you're okay and protected from all of this, and kind of to see the truth behind this next guy that's coming into your life soon. So I want to thank you so much for submitting that question. All right, guys, the next question is the third question for this week's episode, is coming from Sophie. Sophie says, hello, good evening, Ray. I recently moved to Los Angeles, California from the suburbs to attend graduate school. It's overwhelming and I can't seem to make friends in my program. My social issues are causing me doubt on choosing this program and moving here for school. I feel like I'm at fault for my own insecurities and that new people I meet pick up on them and I make things awkward. I feel like this extends to how men pick up my energy too, and I get hung up on my appearance as a result of this. I would just like to feel accepted. I'm going through my Saturn return currently, but it has felt like that for several years now. Haha. Can you please connect with my higher self for advice? Much love to you, Ray. Hugs. Thank you, Sophie. Sophie, big hugs to you. I can fully relate with a lot of what you're saying. I feel like you are definitely a starseed in many ways. I feel like you've never felt like you have fit into society, And being that you are so unique, it's very hard to get acceptance. It's not so much that you want acceptance. I understand exactly what you're coming through, what you're going through, but you want to be visible to people. You want people to see you and not judge you for who you are on the outside. People are so caught up in appearances and judging people by what they look because you're overweight or you wear glasses or you have crooked teeth, you know, and that's not what matters. At the end of the day, it's what's inside of our soul and our hearts and how pure we are and how much we love people. And it hurts me, even to, because I can understand what you're going through. I was bullied as a child growing up and even into adulthood, and even now, being a male in a world that is, primarily the spiritual world of psychics and mediums is predominantly female. So it's very hard, to stand on my own and be judged by a lot of people. That is something that I knew that what I was getting into when I did, come out from the psychic closet and, you know, and coming out into the world, being who I am authentically. There was a lot of judgment that I was going to face, a lot of evil, a lot of darkness, and a lot of judgment. But you have to take it with a grain of salt and understand that a lot of these perceptions of these people are not yours, it's theirs. With Los Angeles, the thing is that it's so close to Hollywood, it is the mecca of Hollywood in many ways. A lot of the energy there, even though it's supposed to be the city of angels, is full of a darker and lower vibration. A lot of the people there are very caught up in the superficial. Not all of them. There's a lot of good souls there, a lot of angels. But in particular with your case and the people that you're around, I feel there's a lot of superficial and darker vibrations. People that are out to just what they can get for themselves, not so much what they can give, to others, but what they can get out of it for themselves. It's very selfish and very much like a low vibration that I'm getting, from them. And I feel like you're being judged in many ways, and people don't always want to accept you into their social circle unless they know you, and even if they know you, it's all about your looks. And, it's like I said, it's very superficial, that energy, a very darker vibration. And I feel like it's bringing you down, bringing your emotions down in your vibration. The key here, too, is to love yourself unconditionally and know that you don't need those people to like you or to accept you or those cliques. It's not necessary. When you try to fit in and kind of fit the mold with a lot of these people, sometimes it can, have adverse effects with you. Sure, it's good to connect with people. Sure, it's good to have friends, but if it's not your spiritual tribe that, that you are feeling like you can fully relate to them, then why beat yourself up on it? It's not worth it. I do feel like the overall energy here with this, the bigger picture of what is causing this insecurities, causing you to feel this way, is your love life. I feel like you're at the point where you want to have true love, and I feel a lot of heartbreak. I see a lot of heartbreak with you. There could have been someone that, that you love, but he's with someone else. That person is with someone else. And so I do feel like you are, thinking about love there. You're being prepared for darkness. Basically, we all have a lightness that we have to go through, and then we have to meet our shadow self. And I feel like in many cases you lived almost like a sheltered life in many ways, your younger years, and you didn't experience a certain level of darkness, and now the universe is allowing you to do that, to experience that certain level of darkness. And in some ways you're going to become a little dark yourself with your emotions and your thoughts, but it's going to be like a self-defense mechanism. This is all spiritual, and it's all a part of who you are going to become. There is a lot of heartbreak, but through this heartbreak and this understanding, that you are loved and that you are powerful, you're going to come out of this. And I do feel like there's a new relationship, someone you meet between here and February, or, right around February, March. It could even be May. And the reason I'm saying that is because I keep seeing in my vision the Gemini sign, and which is, Gemini's in the month of May. So I don't know if this person that's coming into your life is a Gemini or a Taurus, but it could be in the month of May. But I do feel you still have time to kind of, iron out a lot of these issues that you're having. I don't feel like you need therapy, but again, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose. I don't feel like you need like psychological help. You're very aware, in tune. You're not in denial, because if you were in denial, honey, you wouldn't be coming to me with these, with the question that you have, obviously. So I don't feel like you're in denial. You're very aware and conscious of what you need to work on. And what Spirit is saying is that things are going to change for the better. You need to have some patience, because I know that you're not patient right now, and things are like, when you start feeling in your emotions and you start feeling all of this and not feeling accepted by people, and you're starting to question, I feel like you are in the right program. You are in the right path. You need to continue on that. What is the overarching energy, that is contributing to a lot of these doubts and insecurities is your love life, your heart. Your heart is not in a good space right now because of a lot of pain, a lot of rejection, a lot of maybe you've been bullied as well. That's what I kind of get. And I feel like your family is not the best. Also, I feel like they have, always told you, and imposed their beliefs and their systems on you, and, maybe wanting you to do certain things their way. So you haven't had a lot of, independence and a lot of your own vocal ability, to really, say, hey, I'm this person. I'm not what you want me to be. I am this person. This is my goals and what I want. But I do feel like what you're going for school, for graduate school, is going to bring you the money that you need. There's a lot of money, a lot of financial security that is down the road for you. But you just need to get through this rough patch and this hurdle and know that you are being guided. And all these feelings are going to dissipate in the next couple of months. The Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, a lot of these have contributed to a lot of these feelings, but you're coming out of that, and you just need to have faith. I also feel like there is a move after graduate school. There is going to be another move out of Los Angeles, and you may even decide to go more towards the east, whether this is East Los Angeles or even East Coast. But there is a move for you, and I feel like that's going to be where you settle for the rest of your life. That is what Spirit is telling me. So I want to thank you so much for submitting that question. Thank you again. All right, the next question is coming from, let's see here. It's coming from anonymous. I'm just going to put it as anonymous. This person didn't put an alias on here. So let's get with the question. The question says, "Hi Ray, I love this opportunity to ask. So I would love to know. I keep having a vivid dreams about one man who I used to know at a high school. Every month I have a few dreams where I kind of see how he is doing, and I'm usually there to hold his hand or just to let him know that I'm around. We are not in contact for almost 20 years, so I would like to know, what does this mean? What does that mean?" And this is coming from another anonymous here. So immediately what I get from this is that you are a medium. You have medium abilities. Whether you want to believe that, or you don't know, or maybe you do know, you are a medium. You do have a lot of connection to spirit. And so with mediums, you do tend to dream a lot. Mediums tend to dream a lot, and usually they're very vivid and lucid dreams where you can recall a lot of detail. I am getting that this person would be considered a twin flame to you. The fact that you both have shared a past life together makes so much sense that you're able to still kind of, know how he's doing after 20 years, and that you would still be dreaming of this person in many ways. I do feel like Spirit is telling you that he is okay, and that you are okay as well, and that eventually your paths will cross. If it's not in this lifetime, it will be when you both return to spirit, to the spirit world. But I do feel like you were previously, there was a bond, a connection with this person, and you're being shown his life because I feel like in many ways it mirrors your life, and it's preparing you for things that are coming up in your life as well. And I do feel like you both are ready, astrally project, and during your dream time, you're both, and at the 5D level, in the astral realm, and you're both already connecting. This is why you would be having a lot of dreams and recalling about him. You are already being together in the astral, even though you're not here physically together. In the astral, you are, together and having conversations and kind of catching up. I would say, if you know where he's at or you found him on social media, you know, say hey, reach out to him if you can. If you don't, then just continue to ask your spirit guides for guidance and let them know that maybe you want to meet this person. If they can help arrange that in many ways, they will guide you to the right steps, even if this means you researching a couple of hours each day until you find a lead, or you can get in contact with this person. I do feel like it's very important though for you to meet him in this lifetime, or at least have a conversation with this person. The many things with there is something karmic as well in this whole thing, and I think a lot of people that would be listening to this, you know, maybe a lot of people that are twin flames have met online, and they have a connection that they cannot explain why they can't get this person out of their head, or out of their mind. In your case, I know it was school, you both were together in school at one time, but for a lot of people that would be tuning in with twin flames, you could be in a situation where you've met a person online, and then time goes by, and things get better, and then maybe they pull away from you because they don't want to feel what it is. But in many ways it may be a karmic situation, and until both of you would meet, you and your twin flame, even if they live on the other side of the world or they're in another state, if it's a karmic issue, it is a potential of unhappiness until you both meet and iron out, those situations that occurred in a past life. Because when we have had karmic issues in a past life, and we are fully aware of it, and we feel this connection to another person, but we can't explain it, and we don't go through with it out of fear, or because, there's other factors, that we have, but mainly fear holds people back. Eventually what happens, it becomes a cycle of pain. And it's regardless of how happy you may be in your present life, or lying to yourself that you're happy, there is going to be a lot of problems and recurring problems in your love life, and in your physical environment with business and everything. Because when it's a karmic issue, it's something that I can't even explain or begin to comprehend on many levels. Only spirit knows the magnitude of that. But what I've been told from spirit, when it is a twin flame situation, it's very big, especially if there's karmic issues involved, and you cannot handle a lot of these karmic issues cannot be resolved by yourself. When it comes to a twin flame, it does require the meshing of both souls to meet or be in the physical proximity of each other. So for you, Anonymous, I feel like you are being guided to eventually kind of step out of the astral and into the physical, and really try to reach out to this person in many ways that you can. There's many other things that are going on in your life right now as well. There's things that you're needing to cut out, unhealthy habits. Maybe people that have, I feel like these are male energy around you, that you've cut out of your life, people that have been toxic. It's almost like you have two decisions, two males that spirit is talking about. One could have been in your past, and not the twin flame guy that you're talking about now. But the reason I'm bringing all of this up with your question is because I feel like you're being, with everything that's happened in your love life, in general, I feel like this is why your twin flame is coming up in your dreams as well, and why you're meeting out to him, reaching out to him for some healing yourself, and holding his hand, because I feel like you don't feel comfortable in your current life. There's a lot of murkiness, a lot of disillusionment that you've been experiencing. You feel like your life is empty in many ways, that there's something that's lacking at the emotional level, and it has you going through a darker period. You're struggling maybe with depression as well. I get that. And struggling financially too. There's some feelings of like you're not always balanced. 1 month could be a good month, the next month could be a bad month. So there's a lot of going back and forth. That's the kind of energy here. And it's like, you're in an uphill battle, and you're fighting, things within yourself, your own feelings, and you're fighting people, that maybe don't see your way of being and your point of views. This could be family members around you. So even though it may feel silly to kind of, take my advice and say that, you need to go and reach out to this person because you may be in a relationship now, or because, so many years and you're like, well, what will he think? I'm a weirdo, a stalker. You need to put all of that aside and just say, hey, reach out if you can. How are you doing? Do you remember me from school? I just wanted to say hello. I feel like this is going to help you in many ways, kind of, uh, understand your dreams a lot better, and kind of get some peace into your life as well. So that is the tea from Spirit, and thank you so much for submitting your question. All right, and our last question for this week's episode of Tea with Spirit is coming from Sunshine in the Northeast. And Sunshine in the Northeast asks, "Hi Raymond, I had wrote a question for Tea with Spirit and didn't see it answered, so I hope it's okay to ask again. I will include more detail that hopefully helps. I've been with my husband for 8 years. In these 8 years, I'm starting to see that a lot of the things I wanted, he is keeping me from pursuing. He does not help with our two children. I feel like his nanny and housekeeper instead of his wife. I stay because I fear that I won't be financially stable on my own. I think that fear is unfounded though, because I know deep down I can do it. I could go on and on about things that have happened that I don't like in the time we have been together, but I will spare you. I feel lately that something big and important will be happening to me soon. I hope this feeling is right and I will be free from myself and a good mom to my kids. Thanks so much if you answer my question, Ray. I love your YouTube and Instagram. You are a ray of sun in a bleak world." Thank you so much, sweetie. That was from Sunshine in the Northeast. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the energy here that I'm getting, what I'm seeing from your soul, his soul. Your husband, I'm not going to talk bad about him. We're on air, and I wouldn't talk bad about, anyone and even in a private reading, but he is a lower vibration, hun. He's not a good energy. And I do feel like this is, he's a product of his environment, of what he grew up in. And I feel like his father was very much the same with him. I feel like there was almost this, I don't know if he's wealthy or middle class, but I kind of get like he has a very rigid way of thinking, and women belong in the kitchen. That's basically what I'm hearing him say. Again, this it's a very not prejudice, but what am I the word I'm looking for? It's very demeaning to women overall. I feel like he sees women as a piece of meat in many ways, kind of like very flirtatious. I feel like he's flirted with other women in front of you, or have made comments about certain women, maybe also commenting on your weight and other things like this that is coming through. So it's very vile, very infiltrating, and very demeaning in many ways. And you are a beautiful soul, and you need to know that first and foremost. Spirit loves you, and you have a lot of people that do love you and that do care about you. And what Spirit is showing me is that you are happy with your children. That is, that is your life. You're the protector. You're the mama bear to your children. But there's a lot of pain and suffering. I don't feel that this guy has been loyal to you. There may have been cheating. I'm just going to be very honest here. There has been cheating. That's what's coming through from Spirit. And I feel like you feel trapped, like you just said. I do feel like you have sleepless nights. You don't always eat well, or you don't feel very good. I feel like you're always stressed out. There is coming a point though of a lot of light into your life, and I do feel and see that perhaps you will be over the next 3 years or less is what Spirit tells me. So it may not be something immediately that you do, but within the next 3 years or less, you will be moving. So anywhere between now and 3 years, you move out of the relationship, and you're going to be just fine. It's there, when you are making a big move, whether if you're in a relationship or you're just wanting to move to another state, there's a lot of insecurities and a lot of fear that accompanies this, and it's not easy. I can be here as spiritual advisor and sit here all day and say it's going to be easy and it's going to be this and this and this, but the reality of the matter is that when you're going through that yourself, it's not easy. It's a process. And it takes time, for you to kind of, really feel that you would be making the right move. There's a lot of fear that holds a person back in many ways. But what Spirit is showing me right now is that you are going to be just fine. You are going to come out of this. There is going to be another male who wants to give you, and he may be a little younger than you, maybe about 2 to 3 years younger. But I do feel like there's somebody new that is there that's going to be very supportive of you, and you're going to be feeling like a queen, treat it like a queen as well, coming down the road. And they want to offer you, financial security, and also a physical, they want to give to you emotionally, because they're very, a very loving and giving person, caring. So a lot of what you haven't experienced right now, a lot of the the neglection, you being neglected from certain things, or affection, or showing how much that your husband would be caring for you, that is going to change. It's going to change once you leave the relationship. And I am showing that you need to be strong when you do this. Don't doubt yourself, because I know there's a lot of doubt that is going to accompany you. But it's like once you disband from this energy, and you're by yourself, you're going to reclaim your power, and going to step into a higher way of living, and being prepared for that as well. So Spirit wants you to take a leap of faith and just do it. Your kids are going to be fine. I feel like everything is going to be okay. But right now, there's a lot of darkness, a lot of pain, a lot of mental anguish. And it's not going to change while you're in the relationship. So Spirit does tell me that this could be something within 3 years. I feel like it's going to be much less. I feel like 2019 gives you kind of like the fortitude and the strength to go forward with that, and get out of this relationship. But ultimately, like I said, you're going to have to make that decision, and the sooner the better, because the longer that you're stuck in this, it's going to start have physical effects on you, which you may have already experienced: migraines, or feeling very nauseous at times, your weakened immune system, possibly even, developing some bone issues. But yeah, I just get overall that you will be moving in from this and getting into a new, healthier relationship with someone that really cares for you, and it's not like a dictator. Because the way that your current partner comes in, like, it's almost like a dictatorship in many ways. It's almost like gaslighting. If y'all have heard that term, gaslighting, that's kind of the energy that comes through with your current partner. So I want to send you big angel hugs, and angel hugs to each and every one of you that are listening. Thank you so much for being here on the show, and submitting questions. Again, if you have a question that you would like to submit, go ahead and email it to raymondguzman@hotmail.com, and in the subject line of your email, go ahead and put Tea with Spirit show, and then in the body of your email, have a very specific question, and then include an alias. An alias means another name other than your real name, for me to read on the show, whether this is, Sunshine in the Northeast, or just give me like an alias name, because I don't want to read your real name on air. So blessings and love and light. Have an amazing week.